Current self, day 2. Really? Yeah. So what do you know? Well, what I'm trying to do is reconcile current thoughts with enhanced thoughts and to make it in a way that would allow other to go, that makes sense. So how would you do that? Well, first of all, what I would do is recognize that if I publish any enhanced thoughts, that I review first, give a post story of what enhanced thought human was thinking and why. Because the ultimate question that this unit has been dealing with for like 6 years now is the realization of what possibly could happen when you die. Death. The end. So, having a enhanced experience of a question that is a possibility of what that could be is one in which the unit, however the belief system within that unit is, has to figure it out. So whether it is an enhanced human, a human that has no desire to figure it out, what would that be? Why would it be? And could said self figure it out? And so the answer to that is current self in the current state without any type of chemical infusion. The answer would have been most likely no, because the spiritual path of the current human 6 years ago was one of hypocrisy. Is that even the word? That alone tells you how humans use words in which sometimes is above their pay grade. And in this particular average human, a way of the lightning bolt saying, oh, this is the way, would not, in fact, ever happen. So, in this person's journey, certain chemicals allow a different egoic birth to go, okay, what we're going to do is if you infuse with a chemical, it is going to put you in an illusionary, which could be true, but could be false, scenario, and show you something that is not of something that you've ever experienced ever, and make it so true that it alters your perception of reality forever in the human form. And so the first thing I would do, because again, I guess that would be, even if the thought process is, okay, I'm going to die as a human, and I want to know, is that the end of the human self? And there are many that look through avatars, other avatars, an avatar, Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, David. How many are there? How come they're all male? Mother Mary, I believe. Some people use her as a deity force. Anyways, so there are some that take the text and the teaching of ascended masters of sort, or those that can show a direction of what possibly could happen, after you lose your biological suit. This human, though, didn't have that. So this human, infused with chemicals, had an experience of an altered reality, of an altered dimension that then said, figure it out because it could happen. And this did in fact happen. So after you die, what happens? You got to figure it out. What if you're not that smart? Or what if you have no desire? Or what if you have a belief system where you don't have to? What if? Yeah. So that's the journey of the human spirit. Spirit? Yeah. I was like, what does even spirit mean? Keep an open mind and listen to other experience, because I think for this unit, first, figure out your own belief system. That's number one. Do you have a belief system? A belief system, what's even that? So a belief system goes into what you believe to be true. And then you're like, well, what's true? And then you're like, yeah, that's the starting point, if that's where you want to go. So if you want to figure out what happens to the unit after you die, you have to then embed yourself into your own belief system. And now there's so much out there. So it's like, oh, what happens? And then where does it resonate? And you could be fooled, for sure. Because if you're in somebody else's belief system, but it resonates, and you get to a point where, hey, that's a beautiful thing. I can check that off my list of things that I have to worry about. Then there you go. Then you're off and you're doing whatever you're doing when you're doing it. And that's a flow state, or it could be a flow state. And you're done. And when you're saying you're done with that. But if you're a curious beast, you'll be like, well, that's just, how can this be? And how can that be? Yeah. And then you're again into a belief system where you're like, I'm skeptical of the word skeptical. And is he even saying the word right? So, to review, what happens after you die? You got to figure it out for you. And then the journey begins, because then things just come in. Then things just work or not. But the unit has to figure it out for this unit. Does that mean it works for you? Who are you talking to? Currently, I'm talking to him, because his unit is no longer seeking. He's now like, okay, now what? And don't confuse a larger narrative with anything but that. And then listen, and then take in information, and then assess your belief system with other belief system. Because if your belief system is also not willing to bring in other information, then it becomes dogmatic, because you're in a closed system, which you are, because the body or whatever. I mean, there is so many scenarios where if you're not open, you're contracted. If you're contracted, your belief system is set, which could be fine or it could not be fine. So to review, what happens after you die, which is going to happen if you identify as a human, which you should, because it's a beautiful thing. It's a learning canvas of a moment in time. So the answer is, you got to figure it out for you with your belief systems here and now in the current moment, and then you proceed as as one.